you.
Thank you. Thanks, George. Thank you. I don't know, how do you feel about this beautiful, great conference? I don't know how many of you didn't have any conference like this. I'm talking with the people in the room. How many of you didn't have any conference since 2019 or 2020? Okay. And well, I hope also people who are online will also enjoy and participate in this collaborative journey of next 40 minutes. And we'll start. So this that's me, and here is Pablo Liszczynski. He's a colleague, a product management guru in Latin America. He's a real guru. I was working with him in product discovery, doing consulting, agile consulting for many years. So we created these slides in working together. So here is Pablo. At the end, you will see him in social networks in case you would like to be in touch and learn interesting stuff from him. So let's start. What I will do is to ask you to do some work during the next minutes. So be focused on the slides. Otherwise, you will suffer not knowing what to do, and that will be tough. And I hire volunteers also to look in the tables if you do your work. I'm just kidding. So here, yesterday, I took this picture from yesterday's presentation from Roman Pitcher. He said product strategy is a high-level plan that describes the approach to achieve product success. And I found the phrase very interesting, so I added it to the slides. And something interesting would be to have here the opinions of our key stakeholders, like top stakeholders in our companies. When we have a strategy and we have to say no, and with to some of the ideas they provide, and because having a strategy is quite cool and interesting and very necessary, but it's also like difficult, because when you have product strategy, in many cases it will be like visible that you don't have to do everything, and that not all the ideas should be done and have the same priority, at least by now. So, but without a high-level plan, it is extremely difficult to make the right decisions. So we need to have that high-level plan to agree with our stakeholders on the objectives and priorities, create a roadmap, and define the relevant impacts and related metrics for the products and teams. And as many presentations before, we are focusing more in outcomes and relevant impacts and not in the outputs. We will see more on that later. So then some more like philosophical concept is like, let's think on products are as each product is a bridge that connects companies with customers. So in one side, you have your users and your customers that have problems, needs, wishes, pains, goals, motivations, and jobs to be done. And in this side, you have business that thinks on income, market share, profits, knowledge. And then you have products that provide to fix problems, help customers to do things faster, easier, and more cost-effective. And they provide the company with money. But sometimes the bridges do not work. This is the case of a bridge in Chile. For this bridge, like about 10 years ago, they did everything right, but at some point, while assembling the two parts, they did it in the wrong way, so the bridge never worked. So there was that flow between the value and the money. And I found another case. This is in Honduras. They set this product as the perfect bridge that would be able to resist anything. Earthquakes, hurricanes, whatever. But they forgot that when there is a hurricane, probably the rivers could change and their course. And now, at some point, the bridge resisted the Hurricane Mitch. That was a very big one. But the freeway was destroyed. The river moved to some other place, and the bridge got pretty, it's perfect but useless. So they had, at some point, they built again the freeway, but had to have another bridge that is not as good as this one, but the bridge is there, but it's useless. So waste. So how we can avoid that and avoid waste? Well, this is, you see that Archer, that at some point was throwing a lot of arrows, but she found out that perhaps it would be better to have a little more time to see the target and just to throw less arrows, but go here to hit the target right. So with product discovery and trying to get out of the features factory mindset, we are trying to think in that way, to have that mindset. Well, but we have some questions on product value that could help us. The first is how customers could benefit from our product. They would like to do things that they cannot do before they knew or they used our product. They would like to reduce the complexity of their lives. They would like to avoid errors, save money. So let's think about that. But also, we would like positive results in our business. Perhaps we would like to increase profits or keep clients or get new customers or reduce the average operating costs per customers. But that will depend on the time in the product life cycle, the time in the life cycle of the product, because it might happen that you are a startup with a new product, or that you are already got the product market fit and you need to scale, or you are trying to avoid the declining of a product. So this depends on the product life cycle time where your product is. Well, so something interesting for thinking about strategies and roadmaps is the Kano model. How many of you know the Kano model? Okay, like 20% of the audience here. And in the Kano model is from the 80s, but it's quite useful because you have satisfaction in this axis, and you have what happens if a feature is not fulfilled at all, or if it's fully fulfilled. So over there, Kano detected that there are some features that are basic expectations. If you do not have them, the product will not be helpful at all. These are essentials. But they have, and then you have satisfiers, that the more you provide, the more you give to customers and users, the more satisfaction they will get. So let's say this hotel here, for example, basic expectation we have for this hotel, for example, is like to be clean and to have the lights, to have food that is warm and is healthy. And this is like basic expectations. But you have like satisfiers would be like, for example, the more food you have for breakfast, the more satisfied you will be. So if the food, at some point, you put more food, and the more space for the food, at least for some target segment of customers, they will get more satisfied. But you have also delighters, and this is a very important part of your product. It's like a feature that if you provide just a little, the satisfaction starts getting really high. So let's say in the case of this hotel, let's say that you are going to book the hotel you were going to book for a hotel for attending this company, and you found out the hotel has a swimming pool. Do you see that sometimes in hotels the swimming pools are really tiny, or the gyms? They are like really small. You see the picture, and then you go to the hotel, and the swimming pool or the gym are really small. And actually, you go to the hotel and you never go to the gym, and you never go to the swimming pool. But there is a perception that the hotel is much better, and you feel delighted about that. So these are the typical features in a product that Kano is considering as delighters. So the advice here is to look for a right balance between basic expectations, satisfiers, and delighters. Because in one sense, if you, for example, start, let's say, at some point, the hotel is clean, it's very clean. But if you say, okay, let's hire 20 additional people to get the hotel even cleaner, the satisfaction will not be high, because it's a must that the hotel has to be clean. But on the other hand, if you put like a 50 meters swimming pool, wow, the satisfaction will be really high, because the curve of delighters is like this in relation to fulfillment and satisfaction. So here, try to have some delighters and not just feature parity with your competitors, for example. But how we can move from product features to outcomes? That is a topic we were discussing a lot during this conference. So here, this will be the first exercise for you. So we have product features that are outputs, but they are nothing if they are not used by your customers. So features or outputs, when used by customers, will produce outcomes. Outcomes will be problems solved, and actually changes in the behaviors of users and customers. And why we would like to see and focus product outcomes? Because these outcomes will be the ones that will generate the business results. That could be more profits, reducing the cost of acquisitions, make the time value of customers, the money we get in the lifetime of our customers higher, or for example, to get more market share. So here, for example, let's see, an example could be like, for example, let's say that for my product, I would like to create a chatbot. So what the outcome could be, for example, like self-serve Q&A, and the answering of support responses to support issues, automatic responses to support issues, and the business results will be, for example, 10% reduction in the call center costs, something like this. So we think in a feature, but output, but we are not just thinking in the feature, but also thinking about the outcome and about the business result. Sounds okay? Time to work. So let's practice. Let's gather in groups of 3. It could be 2 or 3 in each table, and have a conversation about some specific features that will be soon developed in your products, and think on their outcomes and their expected business results. We have 5 minutes, and I would like to listen sound of people working that is like in this type of rooms. When remember this like 3 years ago when you were in a workshop and people were working together. So it's like 5 minutes, the best conversation between two people related to the features to be developed in their own products, and not just mention the feature, but also the outcome and the business result. 5 minutes, and the volunteers will be also helping around. Thank you. Okay, time. Okay. How was the conversation? Was okay? Good. We have a couple of slides and we'll continue the conversation with something else. So here we have the DHM model. The D is for delight, the H for hard to copy, and the M for margin enhancement. So how will your product delight customers in hard to copy, margin enhancement ways? So this is the next exercise will be related to this, how to use the DHM model for helping you to set your strategy, your product strategy. So this is how this works. You have like 3 columns. In the first column, you think on what you and your teams could do for delighting users and customers. Second one is what you can do or what do you already have that is hard to copy. And the third is how your product help your business to succeed. Yep, simple and I think powerful. So let's what I will do is to show you 2 examples rather than using Spotify and Netflix and book examples. I will present examples like first persons, like things I was working or I'm working on now. So here the idea is that creating a product strategy without thinking on these 3 attributes give some middle things that might be very risky for your business, and I agree. So here is the first case. This is Clear. It's a agile consulting company in Latin America, and that has the DHM exercise or tool applied like this. In the delight column, all the process from pre-sales of the consulting and until the delivery and even the post-sales, everything, all the process is performed by consultants or trainers assigned to the customers. So there are no sales pitch or salespeople who will sell something that then consultants or trainers cannot deliver. So this is we found that when I was working there, we found that this is something really appreciated by customers because other consulting companies do not do it. So then there is a very agile administrative process. So the billing, the payments are flexible and they adapt to what customers need. For example, customers from different countries would like different billing from different places, or you have like a company in Mexico that hire training in 4 countries and they would like to have the billing divided in each country, so Clear can do that. And then the ability to engage and inspire people with workshops who combine training from the back of the room, graphic facilitation, and gamification. That is kind of, they found that this is like a killer combination and it's a delight. And there are some stuff that is hard to copy. For example, the number of certified trainers to be like the founders of the Latin American community, and a process of selling that they were tuning by the years, that they call it like how you sell is how you solve. So in the pre-sales, these consultants start doing the consulting while selling. So this is like a hard to copy. And in margin enhancement, well, there are some empty blank things, blank space, but for now, they have a lean administration and distribution. The costs of administration is really low, and that makes margins higher. This is one example. So this is second example is Biotas, that is an Irish company based in Limerick that I recently got in. And Biotas works in the energy sector and helps big consumers of electricity to contribute to the health and the quality of the grid, the smart grid of the electricity in several places in the world. And there is also a DHM for it. This is the Delight Customers column, says that customers can profit from reducing their carbon footprint and meet their environment goals. It's like you have like a big factory, and when the grid is in trouble because of the demand, or there is no wind and the renewables are contributing with low generation of energy to the grid, they can delay some consumption of electricity, so they contribute to the health and the working of the smart grid. So, and they get the profit. So this is a good delight. The more they contribute to and reduce to their carbon footprint, the best for them and for the world. And then there is like something that is called fast frequency response. That is something that devices that could react very quickly to changes in the consumption of electricity for a city or for a whole country, but it's kind of very silent, and that is not disturbing at all how these clients are working. So then hard to copy. There are some knowledge, very deep knowledge on the industry and the devices, and 40% of the headcount is research and development, and there is a special hardware in-house, designed in-house. So margin enhancement is like basically the more the customers get the benefits of this whole platform, the best for them. And the best for Biotas because it gets more additional profits. So let's work together again. We have 5 additional minutes. And step 1, try individually, or if there are some other people from your company together, try to think on how to apply the DHM model to your own product. Then we will gather and we will exchange and gather feedback from others in our tables. Okay? So first step, in 3 minutes, please write the DHM model applied to your own product. Individual work, though if there are more people of your company, you can do it in pairs of 3 or 4 people. Go ahead, 3 minutes. Okay, it is time to wrap up. And I would like to know about the conversations, if you learned something, if something got your attention. And I will start with those tables. Usually the people who make trouble are at the end. So anyone who would like to tell us about some highlights of the conversations? Yeah, go ahead.
I learned something from their strategy, which is got data in place, that becomes really another competitor could come in.
This is a hard, yeah, could be. Sometimes it's not a feature. It's you have the data. Your company has a special data. Okay, good, excellent. Yeah, over there, the troublemakers. Just kidding.
Want to share
Or
findings?
that side, those tables at the end. Someone else? Some learnings from the exercise? Someone that is an expert in this tool and would like to also help? Yeah, go ahead, please. The microphone is there.
So this is probably more of a question that we've got. So a lot of our development teams and products that we work on are all internal. So our users don't necessarily have a choice to use them or not. They can't choose to use something else instead of what they're provided with. So we kind of struggled a little bit with the kind of hard to copy. And how would we think about that from an internal point of view? So it's more of a question.
It should be like a real competitive advantage. It's like, oh, we are nice and we smile. It should be something difficult to copy. So yeah, this is an interesting question. What is the barrier for hard to copy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, for example, in these cases, if you have a lot of data or you have a lot of consultants that is unusual to have 100% of consultants with much experience and certifications, or if you have during 8 years or 10 years you were working in special embedded systems, IoT, this is clear, hard to copy things, but sometimes we tend to think that we are special, and we have to think on if in terms of competitors, how they think and what they could do next, and if they could imitate what we do quickly and do it in less than 8 years or 10 years, this will not be hard to copy.
Hi, we had the same question because we're also in an internal team, and people, either they don't use it or they don't have an option. So what we thought is because we had a lot, it's a consulting, so people have to grow and learn new skills, and that usually happen in the context of an office, and you have a people partner there who's supporting you, and now we're all remote, and that doesn't happen anymore. So we're positioning ourselves, so what we're trying to do, we're competing with the person who would be there, and today is not anymore, so we have to be able to replace that interaction. So that's what we're competing against, making an algorithm or an experience that's so good that people will not miss interacting with other people in that sense. So that's how we thought about it. Maybe that helps. I don't know.
Well, very interesting. So do we have some, let's go to questions. So I will thank to you in my name and the name of Pablo, and also to the people who are online, and we'll go with questions now. Yeah, Alice, you have questions?
Don't have any.
Questions or comments in the room? Nope? Okay, that's it. Thank you.